Welcome to Board Ghost, a story broadcast with games as the engine.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there, but has it been forever?
We believe you're out there, hungry for stories for shared experiences. We can't see you, can't hear you, yet we will play for you. This night's offering is Children of the Fall. To learn how we generate stories playing Children of the Fall, go check out our Children of the Fall rules primer. Children of the Fall was printed by Frenzy Kitty Games and designed by Gareth Graham. He recently just finished a Indiegogo to get it printed. Again, we're excited to get into it for a second time. Our humble players, myself, John Holt, with me.
Ken Breeze.
And Tim Rodriguez.
All right, Tim, welcome back.
Again.
Welcome back, Tim.
Cool. So Children of the Fall is a game about post-apocalypse where children are the ones trying to keep society or keep themselves together. Once you reach a certain age, like 16 plus, 16 to 18, you become more and more likely to turn into whatever the adults have turned into, and that's why society has fallen apart. They become murderous, ravening things. So we are going to be playing children characters between the age, I think, of like 11 or 10 or something and 16. And that'll be that. Initially, we'll go right into setup. I was going to, again, I kind of proposed this just before we got on, but I was thinking you guys haven't seen Halloween 3.
That's right.
Yep.
But I will give away, there's a little spoiler here. Halloween 3 is about Halloween is near, and on Halloween, a bunch of witches have infiltrated a mask-making company and installed pieces of a runic stone in each of their masks. And when kids sit down to watch their television commercial on Halloween at a specific time, it will activate the masks, turning their heads into a basket full of spiders and stuff and killing the kid and then killing anyone nearby. So within that, it doesn't have to be that specific scenario, but this kind of idea that all the adults potentially went crazy because of some sort of like monster spell.
Yes.
So it's not like a zombie apocalypse as much as like it's, be maybe in the realm of a Chthonian thing.
Kind of a horror movie apocalypse.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
where, whether it's possession or something like, and so within the prophet,
Yeah,
for
I love it.
instance,
Exactly.
that gives you
A lot,
some
yeah.
sort of
A lot.
something to play with.
So my character's name is Linus. Linus is 14 years old. He has long platinum blonde hair, which he has had braided into 3 thick braids on the back of his skull and the sides of his skull. He has like a bird-like nose and facial features, very sort of thin and has a lanky frame, sort of stork-like, oddly. He is obsessed with ranking and badges. And he gives everyone metal pins to wear, like trophy badges. He also is really into wearing a well-maintained school uniform look. He has, for whatever reason, really taken on wands as a ceremonial item. So wands made out of different materials that are recycled, either like the antenna of like a car that's been snapped off. He also reveres owls and rats. So first character question for Linus, what do you truly believe? And so I truly believe evil magicians have used an ancient spell to change all the adults. I truly believe that destroying these magicians must happen to save the world, or at least our slice of it. Why do people follow me? Why do people follow you? They follow me because I give them purpose and direction. And then the last one is, who wants you gone? And so I'm just going to go out and say that the evil magicians who want to possess members of my tribe want me to be gone.
So my character is Benson Arnold Rockefeller. He looks like the sellout version of a Hot Topic punk. It's totally out of place. He carries a sporting pistol with a laser sight and a laser cat toy attached to a Nerf gun.
Nice.
It's kind of never clear which one he's pointing at you or at other people necessarily. Used to be a rich kid, used to be in some of the best schools, but now he's here. My character questions are, how did the tribe discover your darkness within?
Oh.
It was never within. You knew what you signed up for.
Right away.
What haunts you about your life before the fall? The smell of rotting bodies reminds me of my dad. And what did you do to survive that you regret? I begged for help.
So I'm going to be playing 14-year-old Jessup Worth. He's a skinny, pale, sunken-eyed kid of middle height, kind of unassuming, but he has a big, wide mouth and a ragged smile, sort of like some broken teeth. And, we're all generally, hygiene isn't a huge issue with us kids. We do the best we can. But he does wear like a pair of glow-in-the-dark Dracula fangs and has like a faded fake silk cape that he wears over his black and white baseball tee, torn at the knees, jeans, and just simple falling apart sneakers that are just taped together. Who is he? He's actually the son of a witch family who was betrayed by their coven. So, or that's what he believes. So that's how he was cast out or something.
Nice.
How did he join this tribe? So he survived on his own for a while and stumbled onto some of the foragers of your tribe and kind of just joined up with them and in that way. So he basically was sort of found and brought back to some degree, such attached himself. And why does the tribe need me? I can recognize witch signs and spellcraft. Whether or not any of this that's real, that's what I lead the team to believe, the tribe, that somehow because of my past, I can recognize things like hobo symbols or something.
Yeah.
And who do I believe wants me out the most? I believe the youngest of the tribe, whoever those are, believe I'm either like a secret witch or a spy. So basically, like their sort of playful conspiracy theories are not overridden by my usefulness, and so they like to think, hey, he should go because he's probably a witch.
Probably one of those witches.
Yeah. Remnants? Yeah, so mine is a maglite that belonged to my older brother.
Cool.
So a maglite.
Mm-hmm.
So having done these introductions, we can go on to define our relationships.
Linus respects Benson. Linus additionally is jealous of Jessup.
Benson is suspicious of Linus. I'm heavily indebted towards Jessup. Essentially, you opened the door for me. I basically felt like I had to beg to do it to get in.
Cool. Well, I trust Benson with my life in that I know it's a dark, dirty world, and he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. And that's something I trust and respect. And I'm jealous of Linus because whatever sort of like thrall you have over the others is, for me, it's something they're suspicious of. But for you, it's something they respect. All right. So lastly, we're going to generate our secrets. Once the characters and the relationships have been defined, we create a secret for their character. So this is one we won't show to anyone. So now we're going to make our haven. Okay, so we are an as of yet unnamed tribe living in like a Pasadena or I don't know, some sort of like LA neighborhood kind of place in in a sprawling urban environment. We are in this sort of cloister of an old church and ringed by a somewhat busy market square kind of parking lot place with buildings that have been long since abandoned, and nearby is a JCPenney / Target kind of store for sundries, and in the basement of beneath our church haven is a crypt, a cool dark spot, and nearby there's a large overpass, one of the sort of high points for surveying and checking stuff out, and also a place where detritus tends to collect. So it's a gathering point, perhaps. And so that's our haven. We are all in this church. It's a pretty big tribe, about 24 of us. It's been 6 weeks since the fall. We've already have a leader in Linus. Our ammunition supply is pretty hefty, from connections at a shooting range. I don't know if we're just real good at shooting, so we don't use a lot of ammunition up either. But we have plenty of it on hand. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of fuel. So cooking, running our generators, all that stuff is a lot harder because we just don't have access to the fuel. Our threats, immediately, there's a rival tribe that has some beef with us. Something went down in the recent past, and this rival tribe, perhaps the Bike-o-mancers, a bicycling gang.
Bike-o-mancers, they're on the other side of the overpass.
they have beef with us, and so that's a big threat immediately.
Yep.
Long term, we live in a place that has earthquakes, may have already damaged our haven a little bit, and it's an older building. We're not sure what will happen to infrastructure if there are more of these, and maybe the same things that are causing the calamity have caused these earthquakes. So again, it's been about 6 weeks since the fall. We're also saying this is like a Halloween 3 style world where the fall is based on the machinations of some sort of like witch cult, possibly. So there
Evil
maybe,
magicians.
or at least that's the tales kids tell in the sort of overall game of Don't Step in the Lava that we're all living in right now. We have a mission that we're going to play with our story here over these 4 acts, these 12 scenes. We have a search and rescue mission. So we're looking for one of the younger people of our tribe, Evan, maybe like a 10 or 11-year-old or something, who wandered off from Benson's squad when they were scanning, like doing a perimeter scan or something. And
Keeping an eye out for Bike-o-mancers.
It falls on Benson's shoulders for this happening, but, because he was the leader at the time. But Benson thinks that we shouldn't even bother saving this kid because they shouldn't have been wandering off in the first place.
It really shouldn't have been.
Time is of the essence, though, because, again, in our game of It's a Witch World, the full moon is imminent. So someone could be using this kid for sacrifice, and that's bad news. Is anyone else seeking them? Pretty sure the Bike-o-mancers are. Maybe to cast a spell of their own, or maybe they think we're bad and they're trying to save this kid from them. But we were pretty sure the Bike-o-mancers, or just because they have beef with us, want this kid too. What will happen if we fail? The Haven's going to be compromised. They're going to get information out of Evan, whether or not they kill him, but they're probably going to kill him. He'll also be dead. So the worst thing will be the Haven is compromised. Then also they're going to kill
definitely
the
the
kid.
worst thing.
Second worst thing is he'll die.
So we're on search and rescue. We are hardened
Maybe
6
fourth.
weeks of kids.
Cool.
So we'll get into telling our tales. Right. So the way this is going to work is everyone will do their introductory scene, and we'll go from there. Who wants to start?
I've got an idea. Benson is sitting in his house playing video games, punches in an order on Seamless, goes back to playing video games, and time passes. There's no delivery. Everything's quiet. The TV changes channels. It's the remnants of a newscast. The tripod is there. The feed is going, but there's nobody manning anything anymore. And it's just kind of chaos in the background. Irritated, he flips the television off, goes and finds some frozen thing and throws it in the microwave and goes back to playing video games.
Jessup Worth is counting down the days like he smells pumpkin seeds baking in the oven because they just carved pumpkins tonight, and he looks out his window. He pokes his head out and looks over at the porch to see the jack-o'-lanterns that they had carved sitting out there with their candles going. He reaches over to his kit and tears it open and just puts on the cape. It's already like he's looking at the calendar and it's still like another week away till Halloween, but till Samhain.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just super elated. He like puts on his fangs. He turns off the lights and is like playing in the mirror with his brother's flashlight. And he eventually falls asleep, sort of exhausted and in excitement. And his mom peeks in on him and smiles and kind of tucks him in. And when he wakes up, the next moment he smells like this burning sort of like hay kind of smell. And he looks around, and laying like they're almost inside a bale of hay or something is his mother, his father, just like sprawled out, passed out, and his brother. And he shakes them, and they kind of moan and are groggy, and he feels kind of groggy too. And there's smoke rising up through this hay that they're in, this sort of surrounded cocoon. And he looks around wildly, and he sees that there are almost like the cell, like bars of a cell. There are this caged basket woven area, and he looks out towards it, and he sees these high up off the ground, and he looks over here, screams now that he's closer to the edge, and he sees like this large figure made of hay with like standing further back away, and he can only assume it's similar to the one that he's in. In the belly of the thing is a cage, with people reaching and scrambling, and the base of this thing is aflame, and the fire reaches up, licking it, and the screams, rise into the air, and more smoke is entering his area, and he's trying to shake his parents awake, and he finds that he can actually slip through the bar. He's small enough, slight enough to get through, and he tumbles to the ground and rolls and lands at the feet of these robed figures who go from like chanting and looking up at the sky, and everything's in flashes from that point on. He looks back, and he's being pursued by someone with a glinting dagger. He looks over, and there's like a bleeding sheep in his face, and its neck gets sliced, and blood sprays all over the ground. And he looks over, and there are dozens of these wicker men standing there burning, and the one he was just in completely engulfs, and he hears his mother scream, and it's gone. And he's just running. He's ducking into a house, and that's it. He's gone. He disappears into the suburban landscape where was this child's park that is now a place for the wicker men to be burned.
Linus is driving a car, a hybrid. It's a Prius. His mother, who also has platinum blondish hair, long. She's very thin. Looks like she probably plays tennis or something like that. Athletic, big quads, but very slight. One of these people who's been out in the sun for so long that when they smile, there are just tons and tons of wrinkles around their face. Big smile and big mouth. And so he's driving the Prius. Seems like he just has been picked up, as it were, from a friend's place, and he's sort of getting to drive home. You see him sort of getting in the car, and his mom's throwing him the keys as she gets into the passenger side. And so they take off, and they're driving. It's nighttime. Radio is on, and it starts to sort of fade in and out, which is really odd because they sort of have this like satellite radio, and so the interference must just be nuts as cloud cover does start to come over the entire sort of broad, flat inland empire area where they live. The clouds, though, take on this sort of garish, greenish quality as it seems as if the air itself has this electric charge. As they're driving, his mother sort of takes out this elephant, this opal that's been carved into an elephant that she wears as a necklace. And she just has this weird look on her face, like something is troubling her. They were sort of talking about the night and him visiting his friends and what had been happening. She then sort of like goes in this weird trance and starts like speaking in this weird tongue with this weird sort of like archaic language that's sort of spilling out of her mouth. Linus is very confused as her eyes seem to get clarity, and it seems as if these garish greenish clouds, instead of them like raining or things coming out of them, it almost seems like things are going up into them. Like smoke is starting to come from somewhere and sort of feed them. These different places of these billowing smoke pillars are starting to appear all over town in certain places. As this sort of weird weather occurrence is happening, the cars on the road start going nuts. Like they're spinning out, they're just driving forward recklessly. Everything starts to get very chaotic. As Linus is trying to steer the car, his mother's voice cuts off and her eyes open. Her eyes seem to be very clear, and the opal that she's wearing is glowing, and as she grabs the wheel, she seems to steer them to safety. She almost preternaturally is able to steer them off this busy road that they're on. And as they get into this more suburban neighborhood, things are going wild. People are running out of apartment buildings and houses. Things are starting to get on fire. People are attacking each other. There's screams, crashes. Chaos starts to reign. And it's in this moment that his mother seems very clear as she tells him the truth of the matter, that evil forces are using mystical abilities to change the world, and that only he will have a piece of power to be able to stop them. Not only he, but he will have power to stop them in the future times. And as she tears off her necklace and sort of thrusts it into his sort of hands into his chest, she leaps out of the car as it's driving forward. Linus crashes into sort of this brick wall, and that's sort of how he goes black and fades out.
Yeah, so we're going to go into tale telling, scene setting.
This is the first time that Linus met Benson.
Okay.
Only a few days, maybe a week at most after the fall.
Okay.
Not that long. Probably just a day or two, in fact.
So is this a flashback?
Yeah, I think this is
Okay.
going to be more of a flashback.
Okay.
Linus has a few kids.
I think that the church would be kind of established as like, we've got something, right?
Yes, you've been let in, which we know was something that happened with Jessup. It's established that I'm calling the shots around this place. Maybe this is that I brought everyone here originally or whatever. We're in the large nave where all the pews are, the chapel, if you will, one of the more inner parts of the church.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome to join us if you want and to stay as long as you want, but you have to know we have a very important mission here.
Okay.
Are you interested in missions?
What do you mean?
Well,
Like attack squad missions? What are you talking
yes,
about?
Yes, exactly. I don't know if you're ready to hear this, but the reason our parents went crazy, the reason everyone went crazy is because of an evil spell.
Okay, whatever.
Well,
Sure.
that's the truth. And to make things right, we need to reverse the spell, and we need to learn as much as we can about it and then reverse it. And that's what we're doing here.
Okay. So we're going to like go stick it to the devil?
Well, these witches, I mean, you've got a gun. They can get shot, I'm sure. But maybe some of them might not be able to get shot.
Can shoot pretty much anything.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad you're here.
Kind of like line it up. Little red dot appears very wavery on your face.
Yeah, that's scary. Don't do that. Just stop it.
It's okay. The safety's on.
Stop it. Don't do that. I feel like that's good. I feel like it's a good introductory to these characters and their
right.
relationship.
This is the next morning. The impact of Evan missing, like we've done roll call or whatever, this is when we realize like somebody's wandered off. The three of us are in the scene. We'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Along with a youngling who is like partnered with Evan, like a buddy system or whatever.
Okay, sure.
Janine is here.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can question Janine at our leisure. Linus had set a protocol saying if you go past the boundaries and you could get lured away, if bad things could happen. Benson, you might be getting dressed down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was pulled in because I had set up these wards, supposedly think there's a danger out there. We're trying to figure out what should we do about this whole Evan situation.
yeah.
Like, what are we going to do about it? That's where we're at. So, and we're back behind the altar and all this stuff. There's like a little changing area where the priest's robes and there's like, where like extra wafers of communion and stuff were kept. And we're kind of back in this little like vestibule or whatever. So it's you, Linus,
Okay.
and you're sitting in a chair. It's like a straight hardback chair
Yeah.
that's been like placed back here and is sort of like it's like your council room a little bit.
Totally.
Like not your public facing one. Benson, you're kind of standing there in front of him with Janine by your side, and I'm just kind of leaned against the wall behind you. So we did roll call this morning. I was up next to do squad. So, but that's when we went. That's when we saw this kid was gone. That's when we saw Evan was not here. I mean,
Evan.
toe-headed kid, like
Yes.
kind of pudgy.
Yes.
He's the one.
Yes, of course.
He's the one always talking about candy.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Candy head.
Yeah, candy head indeed.
Well, where was he last seen?
Janine, you're supposed to be in the buddy system with him. What do you think?
Well,
Yeah.
oh no, he was talking about candy. He loves candy.
God.
I mean, did
He
you?
was on my squad last night.
What? Where were you? Like, did you notice any issues, like when you're doing your sweep, like around the fence?
No, I mean, like it smelled like a carnival outside, but like, whatever. There's weird things that happen all the time now.
Well, he was real interested in that candy. And he was talking about maybe there's candy in the JCP.
It's like maybe it's like a Hansel Gretel situation. Like he got lured out. I mean, if they're luring him out and they're getting in his head to know what he wants, I mean, he was pretty vocal about wanting candy all the time.
I mean,
don't know.
most kids just want candy all the time.
But they want them for something. We should go save
Is that
them.
something they can do? They can see into your mind and use what you want against you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, especially if you don't put like wards above your
We
bed.
have to make sure we ward everyone. Like
Oh,
me,
yeah,
I wear
yeah.
my mother's ward, and it's served me very well.
Yeah, we'll get some. I think if we get some chalk, we can do some symbols over everybody's
That's
bed.
exactly what we need.
And
We
we'll-
need chalk.
Yeah, we'll put symbols above everybody's bed and stuff, and on the floor under their bed,
Yes.
and that should help, right?
Yes, that will help. 'Cause
Yeah.
People are going to be worried
Yeah.
that they're going to get taken next.
But anyhow, we should. Yeah, sure, he's like a youngling or whatever, but
Well, he's one of ours.
one
we
of
need
ours,
to
yeah.
find him.
You know, like the stories of the boogeyman? Maybe we should just make up some really scarier stories about a boogeyman, and then people won't run off.
I mean, we have boogie people. That's what those creatures are out there.
I think that's not a bad idea, though. There might be some sort of boogeyman that the witches have. We should tell everyone that.
Oh my God. Seriously?
Yeah. That's
Janine.
a good idea.
Well, tell Janine. You should tell everybody that a boogeyman took Evan.
Oh, but it. Oh, all right, but it didn't, though.
Well, Benson says there was candy.
I didn't say there was candy. I said it smelled like a carnival.
Yeah, so Benson said he smelled a carnival, which is a classic witch trick to lure this kid out.
Classic witch trick.
Yep. So I would think
Classic.
I'm going to tell you that this is definitely he got snatched by boogeymen. So you probably saw like dark shapes or something, right? Like it was nighttime.
It was night.
So yeah.
There were witches, and they're eating him right now. They're sucking the skin off of
Oh,
his fingers.
God.
Well, they will if we're not careful.
They're doing it right now.
And she's like, oh. Nice. That's enough of that. Don't stop it.
Don't wander away. Not like Evan.
Look, Jenny, if you wander
And
away,
she's like,
we'll go
she starts
get you.
like, basically started like almost like starting to cry a little bit, like, oh, like sort of the guilt of it. And now thinking about his fingers being eaten by witches.
It's like, no, Jenny, it's all right. It's the boogeyman.
The boogeyman took him.
Yeah,
She
that's
starts
right.
sort of sobbing.
Go let everyone know what happened to Evan, and but let him know we're gonna go get him.
And she sort of runs out. Yes, we have to get him. That's important.
What if he comes back and he doesn't have any fingers? What if all his skin is intact on his fingers?
They're gonna use every part of him, like the Native Americans.
What?
We need to,
Witches are very like environmentally conscious.
we need to get him back before they eat him.
All right. So,
or before they suck out his memories and they know everything about us.
but we're going to have to get rid of some of the skin on his fingers if he's otherwise intact, right?
We'll see. Well, the other thing too is like,
Well,
even
don't
if
worry,
the witches
Benson.
didn't get him, the Bike-o-mancers might have gotten him.
And don't worry, Benson. If he comes back, I mean, he's due for punishment. You can't just wander off.
Sounds like a couple of fingers is good then, like the Yakuza.
I don't
we-
know if
we've
it's
talked
necessary.
about it before, and punishments are very necessary, and we need to keep everyone in line,
Like the Yakuza.
possibly like the Yakuza.
We can also say like that we used a spell to fix his fingers or something.
Do you have a spell like that?
I'm sure we
Definitely
can
has
find
a spell
something.
to fix fingers. So when your fingers get eaten by the boogeyman, Linus, Jessica will just fix them.
Unless I can see the spell will happen, I don't believe that there's a spell.
Yeah, I mean
There are
that's
spells out there. We need them.
that's the challenge of all this stuff is like the less energy of belief we have, the harder it is.
Well,
for
why
these
do you
spells
think
to
I
work.
brought everyone here so that they could learn about things to protect us?
Well, we need to get Evan back if we want to prove to them that we can protect him. Plus, like you said, he knows about this place. He'll let people know about the Haven, whether it's the Bike-o-mancers that snatched him or the witches.
I've been thinking about turning all the crosses on their side and calling this place the X Mansion. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's stupid.
What?
No,
cool.
yeah. I mean, Spider Mansion is cooler, but
Spider Mansion?
it's a church. It's not a mansion either.
Sort of like a mansion.
So we're gonna save Evan, right?
We have to.
All right.
That's
Fine.
part of our belief system here. So we look out for each other. We
Let's
protect
do it.
each other.
I'm talking with Emily, who's an older girl. She's like a real witchy hippie kind of girl. Probably about 15. Probably you and her is like super super tight. We know a lot of stuff about this. And I'm talking to her and I'm just kind of being obnoxious and telling her about the witches. And I think, Jessup, you come in on this. So yeah, Emily, like witches will like suck the skin off of like your finger bones, right?
In some stories, I've heard that.
Listen,
But in the classic texts,
yeah, Benson, I mean,
not many.
Emily and me know, like, witchcraft and, like, actualizing spells and all stuff like that. Like, it's about, like, you can tap into certain powers and you tap into certain things and evoke them, but it's about, like, your will.
Ritual.
And it's, like, if anything is going to suck.
I'm in my dad's will. I'm
Sure.
basically a bazillionaire now.
Well, whatever they summon or, like, they'll make people suck the meat off your fingers. Like, that's what that's what they're turning.
Why wouldn't they just
the
do that
adults
for
into.
fun?
That's right. They'll make you suck the meat off your own finger.
Yeah, that's possible.
But if you're a bazillionaire, can you buy us a plane so we can leave?
Yeah, but who you going to buy anything from?
There are no plane salesmen anymore.
Oh, right.
So as a witch, are you going to suck the skin off of my fingers?
Well, I don't know. Do you have tasty fingers?
This is really, like, guys, come on. You can't let the younglings hear you talk like this. They're already, like, the whole boogeyman thing. Come on.
I thought the whole point was to scare them.
Yeah, but, there's already enough, like, crazy stuff going on out there.
That boogeyman story that she's telling is... Did Linus agree to that?
100% true. I saw it myself.
Well, it's just, I know it's weird. It's harder and harder to keep the younglings in line.
Well, I'm glad I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to eat your fingers. I don't matter how many times you ask, Benson.
I never asked. Whatever.
I mean, Benson, I know you're not, like, excited about this thing, but are you good to go?
Whatever. Yeah, let's go. Let's move out.
Act 2, does anything change for us? Not really. We just
We're
keep...
kind of getting into the JAMA thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We're going to get into the three of us are going to find this kid, Evan. And we three decided to go because I have to go. It's expected.
It's kind of your calling.
Exactly. That if
Right.
I don't go, like that will be a blow against my sort of leadership of the tribe. And I'm definitely bringing Benson because I respect Benson and he has a gun. And that's helpful. I don't know how many people have guns at this point. A few. I think if there was a gun club that we sort of raided, I guess it sort of sounds like, and we got all these bullets. So maybe there's a few other hunting rifles around, but you're the only one with like a pistol.
Right.
Like,
And the
a
like
handgun.
training to use.
And the training, yes. Those things help. For Jessup, I mean, Jessup knows witches, so we got to bring Jessup.
Yeah,
three of-
definitely.
The three of us are setting out for the overpass. The overpass marks sort of the furthest reaches of our territory in that direction. But we know that the witches, that they have some sort of park that they make their covenant, or that's what we've heard. And so we think that's the closest place. We've seen smoke rise from that place in the past and weird lights coming from that area. And so we think that's where all this is going down. But we know we have to get to the overpass and then through the Bike-o-mancers territory to get to this
Batman Park, which everybody used to call Batman Park.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what we're doing. It's the three of us, and we are making our way through the streets, the urban hot streets. The sun is beating down, and we're quietly making our way through these neighborhoods. Most of the streets are clear. I mean, in some places there might be a telephone pole that's fallen down or like a car crash or something like that. I think we're walking.
Probably
I think we're on
walking.
foot,
Yeah, I think we're just walking. We have some backpacks and stuff like that with us. We brought some gear with us. My backpack is painted with onks, and I'm just leading you guys, I guess.
Mine is this scruffy, very, very kind of artificially scruffy Union Jack backpack right out of Piccadilly Circus stores. Not remotely vintage, not remotely used, brand new, but like new busted.
Yeah, exactly. Distressed.
Jessup's got a simple, like, champion backpack, back to school.
So we're making our way. Linus is saying, well, don't get distracted. We're not here for food or for supplies. We just need to keep moving. But keep your eyes open.
Not Evan.
Evan, I mean, do you really think we're just going to find
Now
him?
who's getting distracted, Linus? Come on. Eyes in the game.
What, you think Evan's just going to be lying on the street somewhere? He's taken.
I mean, is it so? I mean, we walked out in broad daylight. Is that a good idea?
Yeah, witches, they sleep in the day and they are out at night. I thought you knew these things.
Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah, but their servants don't always have the same rules.
That's true. We have to watch out for their servants.
They're Renfields.
Yeah, that's why I brought Benson along. He's the muscle on this mission.
Yeah.
You keep your eyes out too, though, for any sort of
And as
sort
we
of
kind
weird witch runes.
we're getting kind of like off of our main street and into another actually into a big intersection.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like kind of where our more like walked like parkway kind of
Yep.
street is intersected by like a 4-lane, like 2 in each direction.
Well, yeah, totally.
Mhm.
Main drag.
drag,
like,
and
yeah.
it's desolate. Like you can see like a car down the way, baked, cracked. We hear a ring, 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 ring from one direction, and then a ring, 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 ring from another direction as we get closer to this intersection. And we can kind of see the overpass like a few blocks further away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm like, do you hear that?
Yeah.
What is that? It sounds like bike bells.
Yeah, it's bike bells.
Bike-o-mancers!
Bike-o-mancers! Hide, quick! We go into an abandoned pet shop where all the puppies and kitties and birds and turtles and lizards are gone, either set free or eaten, who knows. And we're sort of hiding amongst the terrariums as this ring, 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 ring starts to get louder and more pronounced as it's a few of them. Ring, 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 ring. 3 or 4 bikes sort of zip, 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 just sort of zip by us. And I'm sort of pissed off as I'm like, they're not supposed to be on this side of the overpass. They're in our territory.
They could be moving on our place. Should we go back?
No, we have to.
Do you want me to scare them off?
Yeah. They don't belong here.
Okay.
All right.
So you're going to do that?
I'll get their attention. And I pick up one of the terrariums as I start to move out of the shop into the street. Throw it on the ground so it makes a big crash.
Awesome.
All right.
I think the ring rings start coming back around a little bit.
Yeah, totally. And as we sort of see them down the road, they're all in like neon pink and orange, like day-glow yellow type of outfits. They've put streamers on their bike handles. It also looks like that they've taken like chicken bones or something like that and put them on their wheels so that they
So
sort of
there's
like
the
tick, tick, tick,
rattling.
tick, 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 tick. Yeah, exactly. Instead of like cards or something like that. Like,
And they painted like with zinc oxide, they painted skulls on their
yeah,
faces.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
So I drag out a couple of big bags of cat litter and I set up a little barrier and I'm set up and like braced and you see the red dot dancing across and they don't necessarily notice this yet.
That's right.
And then you hear a shot ring out and one of their tires immediately goes flat. The wheel kind of collapses in on itself and like that Bike-o-mancer goes down.
over the handlebars.
Ah! And I'm yelling, "Come on, wheelie losers! You're in the wrong part of town! Time to pay the price!" One of them has gone down. They are like getting their own weapons ready, which include baseball bats that have had like nails driven through the heads. And maybe one of them has like a slingshot that they're sort of shoot pieces of asphalt with. I mean, in the face of a firearm, like they turn tail and run. The one whose bike has been destroyed, they're totally embarrassed and just sort of on foot as they run after their friends.
From the pet store
Yeah.
behind us, we hear this bleating sound, like a
Bleeding? Like a
Mwah.
bleat?
like the bleat of a goat.
Bleating sound.
Awesome.
Something emerges from the darkness, aroused by this sound. And at first, it's the head of a goat,
Yeah.
and then we see that like it's attached to the naked torso of a man
Who's
who's like carved with runes. And he comes out and looks at like his eyes are like bleeding,
Yeah.
like goat eyes.
Ah!
Or look at us, and it goes again. And
And I just yell, "It's a demon! It's a demon summoned by the witches!"
I'm going to use my helix point to make sure that that roll does not go
Does
well.
not go well. All right. The goat head comes out of the store behind me and is bleeding. I turn around, clutching at my like feet, my shins, and I'm like, ah! It's like whip off my backpack and smack it across the face. Its horns tear my bag. It's blood. It gets on my bag a bit too. And you guys can see the runes on the goat head are starting to well up with blood oozing out of the runes that have been carved into its skin. At the same time, you guys can see the elephant jewel that I wear softly glowing at my neck, where I keep the necklace that I got from my mother. And I stumble backwards. Ah! Additionally, I fall to the ground, and then this goat person is on me in like an instant. It's too much of a block shot for Benson to get crack off with his pistol. Jessup, you are just frozen in fear and horror as this goat bites me right in the shin. And I'm like, ah!
Jessup, kick it in the nuts.
Your scream and Benson's scream, that's when I snap out of my stupor and I grab my mag light and just swing and hit him in the exposed privates. Falls, going, meh, meh, holding itself.
I yell at Benson, shoot it in the head!
Bang.
And its head explodes. Goat head.
Ugh.
And yeah, you and I are just sort of covered in, or at least more me, covered in ichor.
It's shortly thereafter. We have dragged you across this intersection, arm across each shoulder. You've insisted that we move forward to the
Of course,
the
we have to
overpass.
find...
We're actually at the base of the overpass. And the thing is, at this point, there's to get to it, there's a service staircase. So we have to climb this staircase to get to the top. There's a gate there. We're worrying it's got a chain on it. And someone recently, the chain is old and you can see broken padlocks around it on the ground, but someone has put a fresh padlock on the chain. I'm trying to use my maglite as a lever. We've already have a piece of rebar we've been trying to, but we're having trouble breaking this lock. You're leaning against the thing and we're just trying to figure out what to do. So can you shoot it open?
Not...
Can calm more of those things down, the noise. I don't know.
Why don't we just climb over?
Yeah, well, and we can, but then can we get, Linus, are you good to climb?
I don't know. I could try it. Maybe if we could get it a little bit further open, we could squeeze through. Or
what?
Well, let's try climbing, right?
Try it, smash it open.
I'll go over.
Okay.
And try to get up top, and you try to push Linus up, and I'll try to pull him over, and then you come over.
Can you see if there's any just clippers in the cars there?
Up top?
Well, we're going up top, right?
Yeah. Do you want to go with me?
Sure, fine. But
so Linus, are you okay alone?
Yeah, I'll yell if I have a problem. Just leave the rebar.
Okay. So we scramble over this cage and get up onto the stairs, and we're working our way up. This is I always forget. This is a lot of stairs. We're really high. And we kind of shout, whisper, Linus, you okay down there?
And I sort of give the thumbs up, looking around. I'm holding the piece of rebar almost like a club, sort of making myself small and sort of hiding behind a big column of concrete.
So, yeah.
And it's an interesting thing because as you guys are climbing up and you're looking, you're realizing more and more and more that there is a lot of concrete damage. It looks like a lot of this stuff is broken away over the past, not even just the past week since the fall. Maybe this infrastructure has been decaying for years and years, but something seems to sort of
kind of eating at it.
Exactly.
So yeah, we're still kind of scrambling up. It's actually we reached a bit of stairs that were you can see through the exposed deteriorated concrete rebar bits, and you can see down to the ground, and it's pretty far down. We've gone a couple stories. This is a 4-story tall part of the overpass, and it can go higher at points.
Yeah, and I think it's at that point that some of the stairs start to break away.
Okay, so they're starting to crumble as we climb. The bit of stairs is crumbling under Jessup's feet.
Yep.
And he pushes Benson back away. But that time that Benson kind of stumbles back onto a stable bit of the stairs. But that time could have been spent jumping free myself, and I didn't. So instead I fall through this gap, and my arm is cut up the length of it by a bit of rebar, and I'm dangling now. So my arm is free, but my cape catches on another bit of rebar. So I'm dangling multiple stories in the air, choking on the little like ribbon that's already starting to tear, you peer down at me and you Jessup.
All right, Jessup, just hold on. Just hold on to the cape. Like reach up and grab the cape. Like I know it's going to choke and that's going to suck, and just hold your breath and
so
hold on to the cape.
He reaches up for the cape, and in the act, he's starting to it's starting to tear where it's held too already. So then you grab onto it.
Yeah, and I go grab right onto the cape, and I'm just like start.
Yeah, and it's like already it like rips away at his neck, so he's now just hanging from this thing. He's no longer choking himself, thankfully, but there's like a red, ragged bit here, and he's like, help! And you eventually pull him up, and he starts to pull himself up, and we're both kind of like now up on the stairs. Like I wrap the cape around my arm to stop the bleeding, and shaken. Should we go back? Should we keep going?
I mean, what else are we gonna do?
Okay. He just kind of still full of adrenaline leaps the short hop over this gap.
Yeah.
And a bit of the rebar crumbles away, and he teeters, and he grabs himself, and which like starts a fresh stream of blood down his arm, and he wraps himself again and continues up the stairs. And we continue up, and we keep going up there, and eventually we get to where we can kind of poke our heads just over the edge of this barrier and look out over the expanse of the overpass, where it sort of arcs down a little bit in one direction and arcs higher yet in the other. So we're good, maybe 3 or 4 stories up in the air, but about to like hop this barrier to go onto the overpass itself. 3 lanes in either direction or something, or 4 lanes in either direction. Yeah. Massive interstate. Does the coast look clear?
I mean, yeah, I think so. There's mostly just a bunch of cars left up here.
So we're looking for clippers, right?
Yeah, I think so. I would look for a pickup truck or like a work truck, I guess.
That way down there, I think I see one, and there's like a Toyota, it's just some old like work van or something like that. It's actually it had T-boned like a smaller car.
Yeah, totally.
There's like just a few small wrecks up on here, so we dash over to that spot. I will keep lookout and like, you got 2 good hands. Why don't you, I don't know, check out the cab or whatever. Check out the and I'll keep lookout.
All right. So I'm gonna kind of go up and do my like best like military sort of like video game kind of shooter, kind of peek out and make my way close. The door is ajar. Didn't look open from far away. It turns out it kind of just like slides open. A body comes out, falls out as I open the door. It's like, whoa, jump back a little bit.
The airbag is deployed in this thing and like
totally
wrapped around it like a shroud a little bit.
The smell of dead bodies definitely reminds you.
Pungent of home.
Yeah, maybe. At least somebody.
Jessup kind of jogs up behind you and he's like, peers in. Oh, gross. Does he have clippers? Does he have anything?
All right, I'm looking.
Let's get out of here.
It's like some contractor kind of truck, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got something that seems like that might work right. There's like, if nothing else, like a big hammer, like a big chisel, something to apply some extra force.
We scramble back towards with our tools in hand, back towards the overpass stairs, and little drips of blood trailing behind me from the loose binding of the cape.
The drips of blood are starting to attract some attention of some sort.
Ooh.
We pass like another smaller like minivan on our way to this little truck wreck. And as we get closer, as we're passing that, it starts to rock. And you've like cleared it, but I'm a little bit behind you. And it actually tips.
Oh my God.
In front of me. And so we're like you're on one side of this car, I'm on the other, and from sort of the undercarriage climbs this thing. It could be a woman. It's walking on its hands backwards, and its head is like twisting, like looking at both of us quickly, like 360, just like spinning like it's on some loose swivel. And it opens its mouth and just black blood pours out. Where its hands grab onto the minivan, they just like crunch it like it's some sort of clay, or like just like as it climbs, kind of breathing and tasting with its mouth towards me. It's like blind, milky eyes. just am frozen in place as it leaps towards me. In doing so, it sort of launches itself, and that breaks the glass from the minivan, which like sends shards sort of bouncing off me, which wakens me a bit, and I actually dive under it and like start crawling into the minivan through the broken window and like towards the front, and it follows, and it's like scraping itself up and cutting itself as it goes, and I just jam myself against the shattered windshield, and it pops out, and you hear like my shoulder pop at the same time as I roll out, and the thing, it's inside this twisted metal cage, and it's immensely strong, but it's trapped and stuck, and I go, run, and we start hoofing it back towards the stairs.
Yeah, as the metal is squealing, this thing was almost like only a torso. It had no legs. Threw itself against you, basically, and I look back, and I've dropped my cape in the fracas, cape's gone.
and it was soaked in blood, and the thing is like partially out of the minivan, like licking and chewing on the cape.
Yeah.
And it's quieted. It's like screaming is done. That's the last thing I see as we hop back over this thing and start scuttling
going back
down
the stairs.
All right, Tim, what's the final scene of Act 2?
All right. On the outskirts of the park, we see something distinctly Evans. It's an empty ring pop ring
Oh, cool.
that he always used to wear. The park has grown into this shadowed space. Like every haunted forest, the moment you step in, everything just goes a little extra gloomy. And like this park doesn't even have that many trees. Just the space of it is foreboding. Inside this park is this little old historical building, little stone house. There is the flicker of candlelight from a window. You kind of see like a jack-o'-lantern carved into this awful goony grin, creepy human teeth, a goat head like we saw earlier. Really unnerving. Benson's ready to just like walk in. Jessup and Linus are like, okay, no, we need a little bit more of a plan here.
We're in the grove.
We're
or in
basically just like getting to the park.
And we're a little hurt. Oh, we need to sneak in. There.
I mean, it's good thing that thing was gone when we went to scout. But yeah, I know we got to get Evan back. Is this such a good idea, though?
I mean, this is a good chance for us to get him back, get back at him.
Walking right back in there?
Well, let's check it out first.
All right.
Careful. Go up quietly.
I mean,
All right. Tell you what. I give you the Nerf gun that I carry.
Okay.
And it's got like a little laser sight on it.
Mhm.
Just like if there's trouble, flash the laser light where I can see it.
Okay.
sure. So you don't want us to follow or just like stay close behind?
Well, I thought you wanted to scout the place first. That's how scouting works.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go. And you and I will go. And you need to look out for any witch symbols that might be traps.
I mean, they're all over this place.
Well,
I mean, look at that tree.
Look for really bad ones then.
All right.
Oh, yeah, that tree's witched up.
Yeah,
Witched up hard.
totally.
Just looks like a tree to me.
Oh,
No, but
you're
look
not-
how
you
it
gotta
doesn't have any
see it.
leaves.
Yeah, I got to look at it close.
It's fall.
It's dead. No, but it's not that late in fall.
So maybe the tree's sick. You've heard of Dutch elm disease, right?
Shh, quiet.
God.
Let's go in there and look. That's why I want to come during the day, because they're all asleep in there.
Yeah, I mean, so far, not everything we've run into has been asleep.
Yeah, because they're not real witches. We're finding their guardians, like you said.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's scout. Look, you know better about this stuff than us, Benson. You lead the
Okay.
way.
All right. Well, scouting usually means one person goes ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
And since
I'll go. You guys stay here.
you can barely walk.
Well, I guess I'm the bravest one of us then, if I'm ready to
Oh
go.
my
All right, you go, Benson. But just hurry back.
Okay. So I go and I start walking in, being a little careful, but I'm also being kind of super obnoxiously nonchalant about this.
Totally. Walking next to the tree that we warned you about.
Oh, yeah.
Like being like, this tree is totally.
Whatever, this tree.
This tree.
Which tree?
And that's when the tree starts writhing a little bit. Like its branches start undulating in a very tentacle-like manner.
I think you think that, and I'm spending this helix point. It's like, that's not what's happening. You're like, oh my God.
Tree.
I'm like, what? What'd you see? And You're like, the tree. I'm like, it's a tree.
It's a witch tree.
Your mom's a witch tree.
Guys, we gotta be quiet. Hurry back, Benson.
Okay.
My mom was a good witch.
So I keep moving forward.
And you hear us bickering about good witches and bad
I
witches.
totally do.
And at a certain point, you kind of like go past another copse of these kind of dark, gangled, twisted trees.
Yeah,
of
these
gray
are
bark
a little
and black,
different. Yeah.
And
First
that's when
one's-
the sound cuts out completely.
Oh.
So you don't hear us bickering anymore.
I'm like, oh, they finally shut up. The sound is cut out. My video game Twitch nerves kind of just go off. Quickly looking around to try and find out what's going on. The trees are moving, like the weeping willows kind of just like hang there. These are starting to rear up and like actually come towards like claws. And I check my surroundings, back off just far enough. They reach for me, but I'm just barely out of range. As they claw at me, I can see thorns dripping with some sort of liquid on the end, some like milky white poison sap or something. Okay, those are the bad trees. I was right about the first ones at least. And I keep on moving forward now that I know which are the troublesome trees. I get up to the window. As I get close to the window, sound starts being present again. Deep in the distance, a little bit of whispers on the wind, and I can tell that it's you two. And I turn around and I look back and I'm like, shh.
Yeah, you turn around, you turn your back on this window that you're up to, and you hear behind you.
Oh man. My face contorts. Uh-oh. That's that scene where you have to turn around and kind of slowly look. And I turn around and it's Evan. Evan, whose fingers have been gnawed down to the bone, who his pupils have gone square. There's like a little bit of nubble in his head. And he's like, shh, you don't want to sneak out past the borders, do you? Like in his still remaining human mouth. And he leaps through the window here.
Evan leaps through the window, glass shattering.
And I stumble backwards, roll, start screaming, bolting, and I'm tripping on things in the park, half looking backwards. I stumble really close to that copse of trees and totally catch some like good claws. One of my arms gets snagged and I'm stuck. Evan is coming. The trees are getting me and I'm just screaming at this point.
We interrupt our story here and we'll continue in our next communique. I was one of your players, John Holt. You can find me on Twitter at Lord Joho and on Instagram at board_ghost. Ken, where can people find you?
Board Ghost, you can find me, Ken Breeze, on Twitter and Instagram at Berlingsbeard, Berlings Beard. I'm a for-hire dungeon master in the New York City area. Hire me to run your games. And I just am releasing a D&D product. It is called the Adventure Mixtape. We'll have 4 one-shot adventures as well as 4 musical tracks going along with those adventures. Find that on Drive-Thru RPG.
And my name is Tim Rodriguez. You can find me online at Dice Food Lodging or through my game company, Galileo Games. Look for 1,000 Arrows coming this October to Kickstarter.
All right, and we'll make sure to put that out online so that people know about it. Tim, it's been great. We'll see you on the next episode in the next half of our story. You can follow us on Twitter at Board Ghost World. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I tweeted it earlier.
You can follow us on Twitter at Board Ghost World, and you can follow us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page there at Board Ghost. You can subscribe on iTunes. The best thing you could do is go leave a review on iTunes, and also get someone who you know is into games. If they like D&D, but they want to know about other kinds of story games, get out there and tell them about the show. Play them an episode, a story that you like. Also, in the reviews or in the comments, reach out to us and let us know what stories you like and would you like to hear more of. Also, if you want to collaborate in helping make the show, you can go to our Patreon and help patronize the show, you can get access to episode art in wallpaper formats. You can get access to some like exclusive how to play videos. So yeah, you can go check it all out there. Gang, thanks again. And to find out more about the players and story in our engine, go visit boardghost.com. That's our website. And we'd like to thank Pat Couples for our theme song and interlude music. You can find more about Pat at patcouples.tumblr.com or on his band's website, hotelsandhighways.com. If you're not alone in the void, share our stories. The more they are consumed, the truer they become.
Dying don't agree with me.